Oh, hope you are doing well. My name is Mike Marino, and I used to smoke. If you were to tell me that when I was a kid that I was going to become a smoker, I wouldn't have believed you. When I was younger, I saw smoking and I realized its benefits. I mean, in elementary school, we were told smoking is bad. It's bad for your health. It causes heart disease, cancer, this, that. And I thought to myself, man, why do so many people smoke? It doesn't make sense to me. I'll never be a smoker. In fact, I remember when I was younger, I had this fantasy of all of the cigarettes in the world just disappearing and all of the smokers would just have to deal with it. They'd have to go through the withdrawal symptoms and eventually they'd just get over it and no one would have a smoking addiction. I seen health as important because I knew with health you would get, more energy for your life when you ate properly and exercised. And when you had more energy, you felt happier and your relationships with people would be better because you're in a better mood. You have more energy to put into your life. You have more energy to put forward to your family, your friends, your relationship. You could be a role model to your children, to your family. And despite this, later on in life, I somehow picked up the habit. I remember also when I was younger, I was always curious if I started smoking, would I be able to quit that habit? And that might have been a little bit of a negative thought to have because one day I eventually became a smoker. Now, this didn't result in a great life because there were many times I remembered my lungs would actually hurt. I'd take a puff and I'd actually feel pain in my lungs. There were times where I thought I'd just be going absolutely crazy because every day I'd read these messages on the carton saying, oh, this could cause heart disease and cancer. And I'd read about what cancer does to you and what lung cancer does, and it just didn't seem pleasant. Every time I had a smoke, I'd always have this smoker's guilt. Even if I said, oh, it's okay that I'm having it this time, there was always that nagging smoker's guilt in the back of my mind. There was many times I wanted to quit, but I just couldn't for some reason. Like I'd quit, but then I'd have a craving and it would just become a cycle. It drove me nuts. Every time I tried to quit, I'd become so irritable and I just wouldn't feel like myself. Like a little breeze hitting my face would cause me anger. People would piss me off if I didn't have cigarettes. And I knew this isn't what I want with my life, especially knowing what it was doing to my heart. I could only take breaths having. I started developing a lot of anxiety, and there was even a low part of my life where I was sleeping on the floor. Like I had so little will and motivation that I didn't even take the time to get a bed for myself. I slept on the floor for a solid 4 months while continuing smoking, that smoking habit. I remember just I couldn't breathe well. My breath just wasn't great. And I remember when I was younger, I did this little survey. I think it was in elementary school, and it was like a little survey saying, what is the least attractive behavior in the opposite sex to you? What would be the reason that you wouldn't go out with someone if you had one of these traits? And one of them was that they're a smoker. And I remember circling that. And I remember even as a smoker, I said to myself, that's not an attractive quality in someone else. I didn't want to date someone who was a smoker, even though I was a smoker myself. It drove me nuts. I just got fed up got stuck in the cravings. I remember there was one point where sometimes I'd feel faint and lightheaded, and there would be times where I was struggling on my friend's bathroom floor, like laying on the bathroom floor to get a little bit of cool temperature. And I started thinking to myself, what happens if I continue on like this? I heard the statistics, I heard the rates in cancer and the risk, yet I couldn't stop doing it. And I thought to myself, what would my life be 10 years from now if I continued this habit? Maybe I'd be in a wheelchair. Maybe I'd develop a disease or cancer. I already felt sick now from this habit. What would happen in 10 years from now? And I thought to myself, well, what would be my life 10 years from now if I stopped? I mean, short term when I stopped smoking, I'd feel angry and irritable, and that's what would get me back into the habit. But what if I made it through that hump and went 10 years from now into the future and imagined my life then? What could be possible? I mean, without smoking, I see a life where I'm, more free. I have more energy to run around and love my life. I'd have happier emotions. Like, I'd just be happier in life. And I compared the two paths that I was basically could go on from this point, this decision. And I said to myself, it's obvious that I want to quit smoking. Now, it wasn't easy, but using strategies and a lot of self-development techniques and a lot of willpower, I became a non-smoker, and I'm a non-smoker today. I really thought about, what if I had kids? What kind of role model would I be to them? Like, I wouldn't be teaching them healthy habits. I thought to myself, like, what impression does that give on my children? And when I do have children, I want to live a life where I'm able to play with them with vibrant health. And I don't want them to become a smoker. I'd be quite a hypocrite if I was a smoker and I told my kids that they couldn't smoke. And what if they did start smoking? I mean, I wouldn't be a very good, like, what would I have to say? Like, they shouldn't do that without really that proper guidance or role model. So eventually, like, when I hit rock bottom, I started learning about self-development, learning about confidence in myself, and I started learning how to, change my behavior over time using different strategies and techniques. And through those learnings, I've developed this system, which I call the Breathe Clean Breakthrough. And what it is, it's a highly involved, highly engaged support group. So with the membership, you'd have access to the group and bi-weekly coaching calls, but also daily challenges and daily exercises that help you redirect the way that you think, that help you get over your fears. And each step of the way, you will feel a lot more safe to step out of your comfort zone because you have that safety of that support group. Some really interesting things happen when you have a high level of accountability. When you're going through that day and you have that craving, but you also have that feeling in the back of your head that, I don't want to let down my group. With this group, there's going to be a high level of that, a high level of accountability, and a high level of success. We're going to make sure it happens for each other, and I'm going to make sure it's my duty to facilitate that and make sure we take the proper steps every step of the way. So, this group is for people who are ready to commit. They're ready to make that final change. They're fed up. They know that they're ready to make that final step, but they're just struggling with that transition. They're finding it hard to find that control. With this group, we'll help you find that control and to start taking that journey to becoming a non-smoker. I know what it's like to be out of control and feel like you're basically going crazy, being a slave to a cigarette, not being able to be a master of your own life. So, if you're interested, click the link below, and what you get is a 14-day $1 trial. So you get access to the group for $1. And if you don't find you have the level of support you need, or you just find it's not for you, then I will give that $1 back. That's how confident I am in this system. I will give you your $1 back if you don't feel that you get enough value in this group, but I'm sure you will. So if you're ready to make that final transition, if you had enough, then click the link below and it will bring you to your subscription. After the $14 trial, it is $47 a month.